here at the International Eucharistic Congress in Dublin, and we've run into a group of pilgrims, or one-time pilgrims. They're not now, they're actually from Ireland, but this isn't the first time that they're meeting each other. They've known each other before. So how do you guys know each other?
Well, it all happened about 10 years ago when we were having some World Youth Day preparation in our diocese, and we all came together, and we're still hanging around together since, so yeah.
It's been absolutely amazing, a friendship that formed over 10 years ago and has just been still going strong. I know life has changed so much in those 10 years, but we still managed to kind of keep together. Some of us have got married, new jobs, moved away, came back, and so much has happened, but we still managed to keep in contact. It's just absolutely amazing.
And so you're talking about World Youth Day 2002 in Toronto, right? That's the first time that at least the three of you already met. And Barry, you've been to the last few World Youth Days as well. So you're a latecomer to this group.
Yeah, when I was 11 in 2002 when these were in Toronto, and I went to World Youth Day in Sydney in 2008, and then in Madrid in 2011, and my decision in 2008 to go to World Youth Day was simply because I'd seen pictures from the Toronto World Youth Day and seen the amazing experiences the young people in the diocese had there. So that inspired me to go to Sydney and start a friendship with all these guys here.
What do you do when you get together now? How do you stay connected?
Basically, we stay connected through the likes of the Congress, and then if we hoping to organise a reunion out for Canada in a few weeks, and birthdays and ordinations and.
Tell me about Kevin. Tell us about your ordination. How did that go?
Oh, absolutely amazing. I was ordained last October for the Diocese of Meath. I was in studying for the priesthood when I was in just before we went to Toronto, and it just that great sense of World Youth Day is a great boost of faith. Yeah, it really does help you keep going. But the ordination last October, it was almost like a reunion of sorts. There were so many people that went with that group that kind of came together. We're talking Mary, Edel, their friends who've now become our friends, we mightn't have seen each other, but we're still kind of interested in, we know what's going on, like we could just say a name and drop it. There's even one of our group, actually, Fred, who wasn't at the ordination, but he appears on our TV every so often. He's on one of the advertisements on TV. He's a comedian as well.
He was so funny in Canada too. He kept us all going when the rain started falling during the night vigil. Yeah, it was great. We had such a good time, and I just remember a lot of our friends playing guitars and being really into music at that time, and that song from Counting Crows, if I hear it again. What is it again?
Mr. Jones. Mr. Jones. Oh my God, it's so much.
I know there's a lot of people back in Canada that still play that on a regular basis. Trust me, I promise you that.
That and blueberry muffins. Can't stand them anymore. Was it your Tim Hortons?
Tim Hortons.
And apple juice. If I see it again, I can't. Damn blueberry muffins.
Overloaded you with apple juice. We'll have to tell Father Tom that the next time he's planning a World Youth Day not to include apple juice in the pilgrim bags.
And little bags of carrots as well.
We try to stay healthy.
Oh, I tell you,
we have some health issues over in North America, so we're trying to deal with that.
They kept us going, actually. Really, really good from us. Yeah, actually, they were very good for throwing into the basketball hoops while people were sleeping below them in the school gym. We're on the far cross side of the gym. It was amazing.
Let's talk about World Youth Day a little bit in Toronto. Is there something that you remember really, really well, something that has stayed with you over these years?
I really would just remember it being, well, for a lot of us we were quite young, and it was our first time really to travel outside Europe, so it was an amazing experience. But for some of us as well, it was the first time to really be at a huge event, at a huge festival, and then also to see somebody as famous, and I don't know if famous is the right word, but somebody as I suppose special as Pope John Paul II. Like, that was an amazing moment for us. And I remember I think it was a Tuesday evening that he arrived in Toronto, and just to see the crowds part and just the atmosphere there, and people were just in tears because this was a dream come true, not just for us, but also for all our brothers and sisters from around the world who attended World Youth Day. It was really, really special, you know, because at the time for me, I was studying theology. I just finished my first year in Maynooth, and I just, you know, it was really coming together for me as a student, and it just brought meaning to what I was learning all year. And I suppose it would be the same for you as well, Kevin.
John Paul he's such an amazing, blessed John Paul II, absolutely an amazing man. As someone described him as just oozing holiness, you know. And I remember that Tuesday evening when he did come in, there was that sense of excitement just built and built. And when the helicopter just flew around the stadium and then eventually came to land, there was one line actually that really stood out for me. It says, don't settle for mediocrity in your life. And it's just that's something that really kind of spurred us on to look beyond some of the things that are presented to us as normal or as are usual for this life, to look beyond it, look for the deeper meaning behind it all. I mean, oh my God, it's just like you get chills just even thinking about the special way he had with people. You know, it was almost like he was just talking to you, particularly when he was. It's just it was just love. Really, really was love personified there.
And it was really overwhelming as well. I can remember that Tuesday when he arrived. Like, it was my first watch, it was my first time away from home. And I just remember being just overwhelmed by the crowds, where the Pope just come down around among the crowds, talking to everybody. It was just amazing. One of our colleagues, our pilgrims, Kevin Riley, he got to go up on the stage with the Pope out of the audience, so it was amazing, like, for him as well. Really was.
So the two of you are volunteering at the International Eucharistic Congress here in Dublin. Father Kevin, you've been ordained less than a year. Barry, you're a seminarian, so you weren't at Toronto, but you've been to subsequent World Youth Days. Yeah. So clearly, the experience of World Youth Day has had a profound effect on each of your lives. Talk a little bit about that.
Yeah, like my first World Youth Day to Sydney was just amazing. It really just blew me out of the water. I was 17 at the time, going down under. So like this was a trip of a lifetime for me. Alone, like going to Australia for an Irish person is an amazing experience. But then also have World Youth Day on top of it, the Holy Father being there. And I always remember the last Mass, the final Mass in Ranwick Racecourse in Sydney. And the Holy Father giving his message at the end, he goes, you know, be not afraid to say yes to the call of the Lord. And straight away after that, I had a year in college and subsequently entered the seminary a year later. So that experience of World Youth Day had a profound effect on me, really. And still to this day, I think back at those memories of Sydney, and indeed, you know, the more recent World Youth Day of Madrid, and the amazing experiences, and just think back at the friendships, the crack, the fun that went on, and just the prayerful experiences that we had there has had, you know, a huge effect on me and for the years to come. Like.
Yeah, it's not the last World Youth Day.
Oh yeah, definitely.
That's right.
I'm hoping to go to Rio as well.
Yeah, great. How about you, Adele?
You just get such a great buzz out of them, and you meet so many lovely people. The hospitality does be superb everywhere we've been. It's just amazing. It really, really is.
Great. Yeah.
I suppose the theme even for the International Eucharistic Congress this year is the Eucharist, communion with Christ and one another. But what we're finding is actually this sense of community has just and communion. It stretches on beyond the Eucharistic Congress. It's coming from a deeper community, that communion that goes on around us. Like we're meeting so many people that we've met before, and that we, particularly our World Youth Days, like you haven't seen them in a while, but you have that bond, and it's a strong bond of faith. And this is, I think, the special nature of World Youth Days is that bond that you know, people who've actually been sharing this, who've camped out, who've stayed and prayed for the vigil, who've bonded together in like walking down the street, singing the songs, you know, happy for being so full of life, full of joy, full of faith, you know, and just see the church universal, every country in the world represented there, and it's amazing how much the message of Christ and has just spread to around the world. It really makes you feel humble but special, both, you know.
Yeah, for me too. It was just an opportunity to meet good people, you know, and I think all of the pilgrims in our group were just good people, and it's something that I've searched for since that, you know, when I've been on the Camino de Santiago, I've been to Taizé, then being involved with the Eucharistic Congress as well. And it's just something that you want, or something you feel you need in your life. And I think what was really a good thing for us, it wasn't just meeting people from around the world and meeting people from Canada and being hosted by wonderful families. It was that when we came home, we were with people from our own diocese, and we still had this connection, and we still, like, even over the last 10 years, we've been to each other's weddings, ordinations, birthday parties, going away parties, coming home parties. We've run races together. We're all kind of into athletics, and, you know, things like we've supported each other through different times of our lives, you know, since that. And it was just the experience in meeting the good people that are around us and in our parish, in our diocese, that we wouldn't have met otherwise, you know.
You know, today it's very countercultural to be church kind of thing, you know. So what gives you hope for the future of the church? I mean, there's a lot of issues, you know, within the church right now itself. There's a lot of issues outside the church, you know what I mean? So just what gives you hope as an individual, as a young person, as a practicing Catholic, as somebody who's created community, had that experience of community, and is trying to live that community?
This week has given me a lot of hope, because I've been quite involved with the preparations for the Congress for the last 10 months, and it's finally getting to see the fruits on the tree, and just to see all the different strands of church in Ireland finally coming together and being around the table, so to speak. That's just given me a lot of hope that, you know, whatever fragmentation is there, that we can all work together for this one goal, and we can all put together an amazing event for other people from other countries who have come to our table as visitors.
I think the fact that we're Catholic is a sense that we're a hopeful people. There's all that sense of trust. Like I was talking about vocation to a group of young people there the other day, and we're just talking about like where that vocation come from. And I was just talking about home and family life. And I was saying, you know, there was a picture of the Sacred Heart in our house in the kitchen, right above the fireplace. It's the one with your eyes just follow you around the place, you know that one. And we were always taught as children growing up, through thick and thin, through whatever going on in life, is trust in the Lord, you know. And it's that, if anything is this Congress is you know, the Lord is working through everything, you know. It looks like we're in crisis. It looks like things are falling apart. It looks like the waves are coming over the boat again on the apostles, and Jesus is asleep in the stern, you know. But the important thing is we know that He's with us, and that's the important part of the Eucharist. We're hopeful people. We'll sail through these storms, you know. It's just being part of this community that is the church, and just, you know, trusting that the Lord is going to steer it, you know. And we're hopeful. We're always going to be hopeful for it.
If you don't have hope and belief, then what do you have? Like, you have to hope that it can only get better. Can't get any worse. We're at the lower level now anyway, so it can only get better. And I know so many young vocations going in and finishing, and it's just amazing. Like, my own brother's a priest, so I've always had the belief and the hope anyway. I never lost it, so hopefully it will keep going on.
Yeah, I think that actually a powerful image and a profound image I take of the church, and that gives me great hope for the church. It comes actually from the World Youth Days. That image in the last two World Youth Days that Pope Benedict has presided over, and the night vigil, the Saturday night vigil of the World Youth Day, when the Pope begins Adoration. And you have like a field full, you know, hundreds of thousands of young people facing towards Jesus in the Blessed Sacrament, and the Pope, his successor to Peter, guiding us towards Jesus. And to me, that's just an amazing image of the church, and that it's constantly we're looking towards Jesus. And as you know, those beautiful images of World Youth Days, looking across like a candlelit field, you know, people from maybe over 170 countries, different colours of flags everywhere, and just a great joy and a great happiness to be there, and just looking towards Jesus Christ, that just to me just fills my heart with so much hope, that, you know, as a community centred in Jesus Christ, you know, who can be against us, you know?
We're approaching the Year of Faith. That's going to be starting in October. And also in October, there's going to be a Synod of Bishops for the new evangelization. If you could say something to the bishops of our church from the perspective of a young person who's a faithful person, a practicing Catholic, what message would you give to them?
Oh my God! Unlock the beauties of our faith. We're looking for strength in it. We're looking for the bones of our faith. We've so much of a rich, deep history and culture and belief that in some ways has been mixed together, has been blotted. We need something that's actually saying, yeah, Christ, show us Christ, you know. I used the image from my first Mass, was the gospel of the two Greeks that came to the apostles. And the line that the line that they used was, "Sir, we wish to see Jesus. We want to see Jesus." And this is it, like that's all. We want to see Jesus. The year of faith. We want to learn about catechesis. We want to learn about our church. We want to learn about faith. Above all, we want to see Jesus.
Yeah, just to say there, just to go back to the scriptures and just to read the scriptures with people and invite people outside of the usual circles to come in and to break open the scriptures with them through Lectio Divina or meditation or prayer, just to make people feel welcome in our church through looking at the basic message of Jesus in the Gospels. That's really what I'd say.
And like to give young people a chance. Like a lot of times the young people don't get a chance to show their religion or to show whatever because they're afraid. But if they're in an environment where they can, it's better. Like it, I know my own parish, but like there's nothing for young people. Very like I'm one of the only young people I know that who's involved in the church, and it's sad. Like, but maybe there is more young people. I just don't know that they are because they're afraid.
What I feel like, to encourage Catholics who want to be faithful to their Christian lives, I think it is difficult for them, especially with atheism and secularism growing. And I think it's important for them to be catechized and realise that, wait a minute, Jesus Christ is the truth, and that our own reason, we can reason through our faith. Our faith makes sense. It appeals to each one of us as a person, appeals to our hearts, because, as John Henry Newman spoke, heart speaks unto heart. Our search for truth is found in Jesus Christ. And I think it's very important for young people to discover that. And I think the great place for them to discover it is in adoration for the Blessed Sacrament. And currently in Ireland there's a few groups like Youth 2000, Pure in Heart, Legion of Mary, who focus on bringing young people, and all people indeed, to discover Jesus in the Blessed Sacrament, in the Rosary, in prayer, and to find Jesus and to find that truth that their hearts are yearning for. And I think it's drawing people back to the sacraments, and indeed to the life flow of the church, which is found in the grace and the sacraments. And that's really what we as the church are called to do, is to go out and draw people to the sacraments, and especially to Mass and confession.
I gotta ask, is there anybody in Toronto that would remember you and that you would remember who you'd like to say hello to?
Oh, definitely a huge, huge, huge shout out and a thank you to, first of all, to the people of Maidstone, Ontario, in the Diocese of London. We had such an amazing week there. It was, can't tell you the welcome we received. It was just unbelievable. In particular, a thanks to them, thanks to the Catholic bishops in Canada, and indeed the people of Toronto and the people of Canada for the welcome, for hosting World Youth Day. You changed lives in there. You really, really inspired people to hear God's call and to inspire their faith. Thank you so much.
Yeah, having worked for the Eucharistic Congress here in Dublin now, I know how much work goes into planning an event like this. World Youth Day was, I think, 10 times bigger. So for all of you people out there in those offices who filled in those spreadsheets, who answered those emails, who took all of those phone calls, I want to say thank you so much. I appreciate it now. And I only hope that the seeds that we're sowing here in Dublin, that in another 10 years, that somebody somewhere else in the world will be saying thanks to us.
Yeah, I'd just like to thank all the families who hosted us in Maidstone, and even the school where we stayed in Toronto. Like, it was just, they were out of this world. They really were. They brought us to see so many things and do so many things. It was just amazing. And of course, with the Catholic Church over there for hosting it, could have changed my life for the better. So, definitely.
All I have to say is, like, the last Eucharistic Congress was in Quebec, and I think an awful for this Eucharistic Congress in Ireland, we're kind of looking back towards Canada, and they're a church at the moment, you know, that is similar to Ireland, you know, the increase in secularism and that, and trying to draw people back to the faith. And I think we can, as two countries, we can look at each other and grow. Indeed, as part of the Universal Church, both countries, you know, we take examples from each other, and that's very much the heart of the church. We look to other nations, we work together. You know, Jesus, the King of the nations, is our Lord and God, and guides us. And just to thank Canada for hosting that World Youth Day, which then, you know, led on to so many other World Youth Days. And you know, for so many people, you know, because of Toronto, I wouldn't have went to, you know, Madrid and Sydney, because a lot of people came back from that experience to our diocese and said what an amazing experience it was, and that subsequently influenced me as a young 17-year-old to go to Australia. So thanks very much, Canada.